Welcome to the NBK Podcast. This is episode number 2, ladies and gentlemen. And we are here with E-Roo from the Die Hard Knicks Podcast. And we're here with Raw Hebrew Remnant. We got some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the kids today. Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox, RJ Barrett. We're going to get down and dirty with those guys. E-Roo, Raw Hebrew, what's popping with you guys, man?
What's good, man?
What's good, my brother?
I'm good. Feeling good. Feeling healthy. So goes a long way right there.
Yeah.
There you go, man. And listen, if you healthy today, you're blessed.
Yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Exactly. So look, I wanted to talk about our young guys. There's a lot of talk going around about Obi Toppin, of course, because he's the number 8 draft pick, which, by the way, you know, if you follow NBK, you know, we kind of hit the trifecta, right? Evergreen was on, during the night of the lottery, his son came on, his son was wearing the number 8 jersey. Right?
Latrell.
just before they started to call out, you know, who was picked in what order, I said, we got 8 minutes left, guys. 8 minutes left before they get going. And then And then we find out that Obi Toppin was rocking the number 8 jersey when he was a kid. He was rocking the Speedwell jersey. So maybe we hit that trifecta and, you know, something magical is in the air.
Bro,
Yeah.
I feel
You know what I mean?
I'm feeling it.
8 in the infinite, you know, the infinite sign.
Exactly. So here we go.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't help but to feel good about it.
That's right.
Can't help but to feel good about it. But there's a lot of talk, right? A lot of talk, of course, about Obi Toppin, rightfully so. Elfrid Payton, Julius Randle, and how some of these stopgap veterans that the Knicks signed are going to work out with the team. And I think what's being missed as far as, you know, Las Vegas, you know, has us going 22-70 or whatever it is, 22-50, right? And I think that what's being missed is that some of our young guys are going to take steps forward. And when you're young, you take steps forward quicker than someone who is older, right? Because you learn a little bit faster. You're like a sponge. So you take steps in bigger increments. As you get older, those increments become smaller. Sooner or later, you level out. You're not taking any more steps forward. You're starting to, you know, go in reverse, right? Decline a little bit. All right. So our guys are going to take steps forward. RJ Barrett's going to take some steps forward. Kevin Knox, we hope, is going to take steps forward. Frank Ntilikina is going to take steps forward. Hopefully, Dennis Smith Jr. is going to take steps forward. And I think people are missing that the success of this team could very well land on the progress of these young players.
Right.
If these guys really have progressed, then who knows what can happen? I'm not saying anything crazy. I'm not saying, you know, we're going to be a 5th seed, right? But who knows how good this team could be to a limit if these guys progressed. So I want to start with Dennis Smith Jr. because most people believe that Dennis Smith Jr. is out of here. It's a done deal. He's gone. Right? It's just a matter of time.
I'm not saying, you know, we're going to be a 5th seed.
Hold on, sorry.
Right. But who knows how good this team could be to a limit.
Sorry about that.
Oh, all right. There we go. Don't worry. We're gonna edit it out on the official podcast, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's live TV. You know how it is.
Yeah, this live TV, but for the official podcast, when it's uploaded, it's going to be gone. But
Yeah.
Dennis Smith Jr., he's an enigma for the Knicks, right? He's got this crazy super talent. It's not necessarily a true point guard, but he's the kind of guy that can penetrate to the lane, come up with one of those tomahawk dunks, and change your game because of that lightning play.
Yeah.
And if the Knicks are going to be successful, if the Knicks are going to be successful this year, Dennis Smith Jr. could be a big part of it, right? So a report comes out today that, he's been working with, and I think we all knew he was working with Abdul-Rauf, but he's been working with him for months, 5 days a week, working on that jump shot, right? Restructuring some small things about his jump shot. I read the article, the way that he snaps his wrist. He releases the ball, or he was releasing the ball on the way down, not really at the peak of his shot. So they've adjusted some of those things, and the conditioning, from what I read, is out of control for him. Like, they're doing drills, high school drills, which I think for NBA players is good, because when you get into the NBA, the drills kind of change a little bit. Drills like you do a sprint, you got to come down and you knock down a three. You got to make 3 of those before you stop doing those sprints, which, if you're not a good shooter, that means you're going to be running for a while, right? Sprint, boop, 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 come back. Maybe you knock down one. Maybe you knock down a second. You get to that third one, you're already kind of tired, you're winded, and now you're thinking about, damn, I got to hit this one. You come down, now you got to start all over.
Yeah, I think that was Dennis Smith's whole problem. He needed to be broken down all the way to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to get a guy that's going to teach you that whole aspect of running around, keeping your stamina up, and also too, like the video, like the pictures, they show him doing like this, so you can see that he's trying to get him to get that arch up. You know what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing, man. You hope all these guys do that, man. But Dennis Smith, he's an enigma. He got the juice. You know what I'm saying? We just hope that he can like get it together.
Right. So
I don't think he's much of an enigma, really. I mean, I understand what we was talking about. I agree with that, but I'm just saying, if you look at his whole career from high school, North Carolina State, and the NBA, there are players on this level generally gotten by with whatever, generally, like, especially in his case, the athleticism has gotten him by in high school, gotten him by in college. When he can't, and not just him, but when a guy like that's this athletic comes to the NBA, that's where you learn to add nuances to your game, because your athleticism is not going to be enough. So what happened with him, he was actually going in that direction in Dallas. Then Luka came, and it kind of threw him off. Yeah. So then they traded him to the Knicks, and what he wanted to do was prove that he was worth where they drafted him, and that he was really a good NBA player. So he started reverting back to the pure athleticism. And he did not, and then of course with the incompetence of our own team, he did not get the development. Because what he's really missing is two things, in my opinion. He's missing the ability to functionally use his athleticism, and he's missing a basketball IQ. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes a guy never gets an IQ. I mean, sometimes they just don't get it. Not everybody has it. But at his floor, if he, like I was telling Sim before the broadcast, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, I know y'all, some of y'all new NBK generation, into Stephen Curry. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was the greatest shooter in the NBA history. To me, him and Jerry West. If it wasn't that they had that issue with him not saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, he got blackballed out the league. Mm-hmm. But as far as a shooter, there was nobody like him. So if Dennis Smith has been working with him for like 5 or 6 months, I'm not saying he's going to be Mahmoud, but his shooting is going to improve. Right. And if he doesn't, I'm going to say his floor, let's say he never gets the IQ, but just by keeping himself in shape and developing a jump shot with his athleticism, that dude is Nate Robinson coming off the bench. And you remember Nate Robinson, both for New York and Chicago under Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning by the whole enigma thing, because all that stuff as far as athleticism and stuff, if he can't get the IQ, just him being able to get in there and just kind of get busy and make some moves, get into the paint, get a nice little dunk or whatever, even if he plays like maybe 10, 15 minutes, that's enough to energize the team and get like your real starters in there, give them a boost. That's really what his like you said, like his floor is kind of.
Yeah. And I think some of that IQ also comes from being in shape, though.
Word up.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you get on the floor and you get tired, now it's a little bit tougher to
You don't
think.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
you start getting in your head.
Exactly. It's a little bit tougher to think out there. But when you're in shape, you're in supreme shape, you can think on the floor and you can play defense on every single play.
Yeah.
Right. And look, I think he understands, his agent has him understanding that this could be a defining year for you. And if you don't show that you are an NBA guard that's going to contribute to a good team, you might end up in China.
Word up.
You know what I mean? I'm hoping that Dennis Smith Jr., listen, I see, people say that Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be traded. They say it's a definite thing. He's definitely not going to be here. But when you look at the guards that we have, Elfrid Payton, Austin Rivers, Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr. is the only one that has that explosiveness. Right. And they may not want to let go of that explosiveness just yet, because you might need it from that guard position. He's the only guard that can be explosive.
No, there's no question. As far as athleticism and explosive, there's nobody in the roster that's on that level. That's never been his problem. He's always been explosive. But, 360 dunks don't win games and don't win championships. So he's got to be functional. Like, for example, you look at Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro is extremely explosive, but it's functional. He will come from the weak side and wipe somebody's shot off the backboard and be explosive at it instead of just doing a 360 dunk. Dennis Smith has not applied that athleticism in a functional manner so that it could win games. I'm saying is that if he doesn't, and I'm saying even if his floor, if he never does that, just if you bring him off the bench and you just say, I need you to go in here and attack the basket. I need you to go in here and attack offensively. And he is able to shoot that jump shot. Like you said, even if it's 15, 20 minutes, man, that's worth his weight in gold right there, because that'll win you some games. You get a guy, you guys remember Nate Robinson. One game he came off the bench and scored 40.
Yeah, I remember that.
He came off the bench and scored 40, man. I was watching him. I couldn't believe it. And he did the same thing in Chicago, and he did this. I think he was in the Nuggets at one point. That type of explosiveness coming off the bench, especially when your offense is stagnant. And let's face it, I love what Tom Thibodeau's going to bring. I'm a defensive favorite guy. What that means is sometimes you become the gang that can't shoot straight. So that's the situation. And then all of a sudden you bring a cat like that off the bench, that'll get your offense running, man. That'll get you going.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm hoping the best for DSJ, man. I just hope that he takes the steps necessary. This is what I like about what we've seen so far this summer from DSJ. Nothing.
Absolutely,
Nothing.
yeah. He's not selling Perielas. He's not selling Perielas. None of that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, everything is in the shadows. So I like that.
Down low on the DL, just
exactly.
That's all.
Exactly.
That's right.
Just doing what he has to do. The first thing that we've heard about him is not a video on Instagram or this or that. It's a reporter who's been there watching him, right? So that encourages me that he's kind of maybe said, listen, I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to grind it out. Maybe he's, from everything that he's been through last season, maybe it humbled him a little bit. Maybe he learned a little bit about life. Right. And that's something that's important for all of our young guys that I think a lot of people forget about. Right. That these guys haven't learned about life. And that does boil over to the basketball floor. Because as you learn about life and you mature, you start to understand life a little bit more. You understand the game a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I'm saying you learn how to play a little bit more. Not only does the game slow down, but life slows down.
That's the difference between somebody that's 18 when they come in the league and somebody that's 22 now.
Yeah,
there's a big difference mentally when you're 18 and you're 22. And Dennis Smith Jr. is 22. And he, like you said, I think this last year, his stepmother passed away. He had the injury, and there was all that drama. And then he got booed at the Garden. Hey, there's only two places in the NBA you can get booed. There's no other place like getting booed at the Garden or getting booed in Philly. You get booed in one of them places, man, you got booed. You know what I'm saying? So for him to come back from that And I'm just saying, wait, regardless, he's playing for Tom Thibodeau. He got to come in here ready to play.
Yeah,
that's it.
You know, he got to come in here ready to play.
Well, you know, him finding Rauf too. You know, that's amazing. You know, he was doing, you know, doing all the protests and stuff like that. He made his appearance, you know, where he's from, you know, doing the whole protest thing. So, you know, just, you know, we explained it, like he's not a kid anymore. He's trying to figure out things about life. So somehow he found Abdul-Rauf. You don't know the story. Even Rauf has been in New York City like the whole summer, and I've never seen pictures of him and Dennis Smith Jr. up until recently. You know, it's like, wow. So this whole time he was in New York, he was with Dennis Smith. So this is stuff that happens behind closed doors, and you know, just as a rite of passage kind of thing. This is like the absolute perfect person to have around him, especially during these times, and just at, you know, this point in his career. So it's a beautiful thing, man. That's something to really be excited about.
Yeah,
it
definitely
man.
is.
Keep talking about Elfrid Payton, man. I wouldn't be surprised now if they put DSJ and Frank out there together, because these cats been working this whole 6 months, man, on the DL. Nobody's knowing what they're doing, and you know, these guys, what I like, even like I said, if Dennis Smith Jr., let's just assume he didn't improve his shot. But look, man, he went out and sought out the best shooter in the history of the NBA and worked with him for 6 months to just get his J together. That's a desire to get better that you want to see in a young player. So just that, and then the maturity level coming off of everything he's been through, I can't help but think this kid is going to come in ready to play this year. And really, I'm really praying for them, because the worst thing that happens is they start getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to get hurt this year. Let them be healthy. Let them come in there and play their full strength and play their full season. And we're going to see something, because that whole Vegas thing, please, man. You know what? Them cats looking at Julius Randle, and they looking at Austin Rivers. They're looking at the vets. Oh, that's all they got? Listen. They don't know. How could you measure what a Tom Thibodeau is going to bring to the table? How could you measure that?
Exactly. You can't. You can't measure that. You can't measure that. And the impact that what he brings to the table is going to have on, especially the young guys.
That's right.
You know, you really can't measure that. Have you guys ever listen to Abdul-Rauf tell the story on how he became such a good shooter?
Yeah, when he used to imagine people coming at him and he'd be out there shooting all night and be throwing it up quick because he thought somebody was imagining somebody on him. Yeah. And you know how he got his hops, man. He was on a porch and he would just hop all day, hundreds of times up and down off his porch. That's why he got hops.
But you know he has Tourette's syndrome.
Yeah.
Right, he has Tourette's. And he said that his Tourette's would keep him on the court until he made like 10 out of 10 or 20 out of 20 or something like that. He said he'd be out on the court crying because he wants to leave, but his Tourette's would not let him leave.
Wow.
Right? His Tourette's wouldn't let him leave, so he'd be on the court just shooting, boom, boom, boom. And if he didn't make that 20, I think it was 20. If he didn't make that 20 in a row, not 20 shots, 20 in a row. If he didn't make that 20 in a row, couldn't go home. He said his friends be out there screaming at him, come on, let's go. Because, you know, his original name is Chris Jackson.
Chris Jackson, yeah.
Right? So let's go,
right.
Chris. Let's go, Chris. And he couldn't leave. That's actually how he met his wife as well.
Yo.
What did he say about that?
Now, this boy's like 60. He can come out and he can come out right now and hit 10, 20 in a row from three. That boy could get out of bed in his sleep drunk and hit 10, 20 in three.
That's what I'm saying. Doing that now in the big three, actually.
For him, man.
Yeah, he's been doing that in the big three.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a testament to how great he is, because I know somebody that has Tourette's, and they kind of surprised me one time. He was at the bar, and they just started flipping out. I'm like, oh, snap, you know? Yeah, so because you know, could you imagine you just chilling at the bar, and the guy just starts going, whoa, saying stuff. You're like, right. You should have told me that you had that. You know what I'm saying? I could look out for you or something. You know? I can imagine like somebody like trying to get better at basketball, like, or you're already driven, you're trying to get better, and then like you're fighting yourself because you can't control something, and you still can knock down these jumpers. That is incredible.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And you asked about the story about him meeting his wife. He said when they were at LSU, right? He said he walked past his wife and his body just did it. He reached out and he grabbed the titty. Didn't know her.
he did.
Barrett said, grab that titty. Oh, my God.
And that's how he met his wife.
Oh, my God.
That's hilarious, man.
Oh,
That's hilarious. But
so she was with it.
I guess she was with it, right?
Oh, shoot.
Man, that's funny. That's crazy. That's crazy. But Frank Ntilikina. You know, I've seen some. Look, they always put out video on Frank Ntilikina, right? I've seen some video on Frank, and I'm gonna say the way that they work with Frank, the type of stuff that they do with Frank. Hopefully other people do it, but it's very, very, very fundamental, right? Mm-hmm. They don't come down and they're not working, trying to make him do everything fast. Like his trainers are there and they're going through him mechanically how to do it, boom, boom, and then pull up, right? And they go through it a few times, boom, boom, and then pull up, break it down for him, and then he does it, you know, however many times in a row. The kid is mechanically sound, and I think he's always, you know, well, once you're mechanically sound, you're going to be mechanically sound. Can he make it happen on the court? That's the question, right? Mechanically, he is sound. When I'm looking at his training videos, I can notice some things. I noticed that he is, his wrist snaps a little tighter. It used to be very loose, like he would shoot and it would just kind of flop out there. Right now, it's more of a boom, nice snap on the wrist. His elbow with the shot is a lot tighter. Used to kind of be way out here like this. I think it's a lot tighter from what I was looking at. And of course, you know, in the video that I seen, you know, he knocked down a bunch of shots, but that's in training. It wasn't edited though. I'll say that. It was straight through, knocked down a bunch of shots straight through. Yeah. I think that Frank Ntilikina, I look at some things from last year, small little areas where he was able to do some things that I get excited about. I'm like, man, if he can do this consistently, this kid has it, because he finds the spots on the floor, the right spots on the floor, right? He, you know, boom, boom, boom. He'll get to that elbow, but he doesn't pull it up. He's still looking to make that pass, right? He seems to be able to get to wherever he wants to on the floor. And I think I did this in one of my videos on Frank. I don't remember. I don't remember. But if you put Frank in a situation where he's forced to go, he actually does a good job of getting to the basket or getting a shot off. Yep. When the shot clock is coming down 5 seconds, he has the ball in his hand and it's like, okay, I got to go now. He's successful. Right. Come down to the end of quarters and he has to go. He is successful. There were actually times last season when they gave the ball to Frank Ntilikina to finish out a quarter or to finish out a half with 10 seconds left. You know, I do feel like Frank could be a guy that takes a step forward. I really feel like he can take a step forward this year. I felt like at the end of the season, his confidence was higher. You know, and with Tom Thibodeau, I think the way that Tom Thibodeau plays, one, defensively, so he's going to be on the court, and two, a more structured system that's going to tell Frank, this is what I want you to do, and give him a complete role. And I think that's going to be really, really good for Frank.
The thing is that, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was waiting for you to say something. I want to hear your opinion.
Okay, let's talk about Frank for just a second. So Frank gets drafted 2016. Jeff Hornacek is the coach. Okay? Jarrett Jack is the starting point guard. And Jeff is actually doing a good job bringing Frank along. Because at that time, Jarrett Jack was starting. They were playing Frank about 20 minutes a game in his rookie year. But then what happened is Phil Jackson was coaching from the president's box. And Hornacek was not, you could tell he was not comfortable doing what he would try to do himself. He was trying to do what Phil Jackson would want him. Then he started coaching for his job, and Frank lost his minutes because Jarrett Jack started playing a lot more minutes. That was his rookie year. Now, Hornacek gets fired. You get Kurt Rambis. We don't even need to mention him too much. But then at the end of that first year, now you get Fizdale. And at Fizdale's opening, now Frank comes in 18 years old, just turned 19. He's going to the NBA, his dream. The first press conference, Fizdale looks at Moutier and says, kid, we're going to get you right. From that moment, Frank was done for that year. It was done. 19 years old, his confidence is for crap right now because he's looking at Moutier and saying, we're going to get you right. He starts Frank Ntilikina, a lifetime point guard, at the 3 opening night. And so now Frank is playing a different position than he's played his whole life. And now he's just trying to please. Frank is the type of player, he wants to please his coach. So he said, okay, coach, I'll play the 3. So now he's focusing on Moutier the whole year. That's a lost year. The next year we start off 4-18. He gets fired. Mike Miller comes in. Now, all of this time, Frank is getting older and he's growing in maturity. And if y'all paid attention, after January 1st last year, he was playing with a lot more confidence, whether he came off the bench or started, and he really was turning a corner. That 20-point game against the Wizards, he was feeling, I was at that game, he was feeling extremely confident. So now, to me, when I looked at the videos that Tim mentioned that I saw him training this year, it wasn't what he was doing, it was the look on his face.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Now you're looking at a guy, he's not scared of New York no more. He's not scared of the media. He's not scared of the fans. Mm-hmm. If you look at he was MVP of the under-18 league in the World Championships. And if you watch the video of those games, he plays exactly how he plays now, except he's hitting that elbow jumper. He's hitting that 3-point shot. He's going to the back because he was more confident. And if you look at him in the World Cup with that French coach, he was more confident. And this year, what I noticed, the biggest thing I noticed, he was getting ready to go back to France earlier in the summer to train. And all of a sudden, he stayed in New York. I think Thibodeau and him had a conversation, and because Thibodeau's a defensive coach, and he said, and Frank, all of a sudden now, his focus from what I'm seeing is on conditioning, because he's going to realize he's got to play 35 minutes a game. He don't come in here getting hurt on your grind this year. You got to be ready. And he's going to get the consistent minutes. So with the confidence, I wasn't worried about his form on his shot. It's all about what's up in here with Frank. You got a kid, and most people don't recognize. See, Sam, I love you, man, because you go back like me. When you go back, you can see a player that's a player that has IQ, that knows how to react on defense, that knows the hockey assist. He's already got that. Yep. So you give him 30, and then people come. Lonzo Ball, that was driving me crazy. Lonzo Ball was getting 32 minutes a game, turnovers or whatever. They kept putting him out there because he was the number 2 overall pick. Frank kept looking over his shoulder, first at Hornacek, then at Rambis, then at Fizdale. So he has not had one coach that gave him that confidence that said, look, take the ball, do what you do, make your mistakes, and we're going to play. Now he's got Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau saying, if I see you locking in on defense, I'm not worried about the offense. That's all this kid needs, man. I'm telling you right now, he plays, even if he shoots, I was looking at, if you compare, I was looking basketballreference.com, compare Frank Ntilikina's career with Marcus Smart. The only difference is Marcus Smart was playing 30 minutes a game. Frank playing 20. Marcus Smart and Frank shoot identical percentages. But because Marcus Smart was playing more minutes, he put up more shots and averaged double figures. If you give Frank those minutes, he's going to be more efficient, and he's going to be a lockdown defender. I'm expecting big things from him. To me, this year, and I'm going to tell you the truth, y'all know I'm a big Frank supporter. But if he gets hurt this year and can't play, you got to get rid of him. That's what I'm looking at. But if you give him that 30 minutes a game, I think he's going to show out, and then we ain't got to be talking about no point guard next year because we got one.
And he's gotten bigger too, man. He's gotten bigger. Yeah. I'm looking at the video. He's gotten bigger, and I agree. That look on his face. I'm gonna let you go, Eru, because there's something I want to say about it. I'm gonna let you go, and then I say what I want to say.
Well, the people that follow the podcast, they know that I can't stand Frank Ntilikina, but the reason why I can't stand him is for everything that Rahibu explained. Is that it's just about the role. He doesn't have a role, so he doesn't have the confidence and just because he's a young guy. He's a little man, he's not a grown man yet. So there's a lot of things that he needs to learn, and he's not learning stuff because of everything that he will explain. So I mean, like in these videos, which is like he was the only one posting videos this year, so you could see it in his eyes. He looked like Freddie Kane out there, you can see he got that energy in his eyes and stuff. So just as somebody that doesn't like Frank's game, I wish that they would work on him a little bit better as far as extension. I would love to see him extend his arms to the basket a little bit more, But for somebody that doesn't like him, I totally understand that whole dynamic with with just the confidence, just giving him a role, give him a role, and I think he's just gonna run through a wall for you. So
yeah. And I think the environment that's going to be with the team this year is his environment. You look at the last few years under Fizdale, it's been like we were talking about before, Eru, this summer camp type of environment.
Yeah, Keith Smart was like the top coach. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, like this summer camp environment. Where Frank comes from, it's not that kind of environment.
Right.
Where he plays in a kind of league where you might go into an arena and get rocks thrown at you or something.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Flicked at you.
Yeah. So he comes from a different kind of environment, and I don't think he knows anything but approaching basketball in a serious manner.
That's right.
Coming to the Knicks, coming to the NBA, I think it was a little bit different. He's a young kid that's playing around older kids. He was in the championship before he came to the draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
In the championship before he came to the draft. How do you think those guys approached the game? They were serious.
That's right.
They were serious about the game. Obviously they had fun, but they were serious. You come to the Knicks, you got the summer camp type culture going around, and your coach is your best friend and want to take you to the movies and all kinds of wild stuff, right?
I say fair.
Yeah. And I don't think he knew how to be in that environment because that's not what he grew up in. He grew up in a different type of environment, different culture when it comes to basketball, right? To him, it's like, I do that stuff off the court with my friends. I don't do that, when it comes to the game. And it's going to be that type of environment this year. That's one of the reasons I think he's due to excel. Yeah. I think it's going to be a perfect situation for him.
This is a perfect storm for him to bring forth his best. That's why I'm saying I love Frank Ntilikina. I think he's a championship piece, but he's got to prove it. And I think Tibbs is going to give him that opportunity to sink or swim. I read about Vince Lombardi years ago, one of the Hall of Fame coach of the Green Bay Packers, and he had a similar situation with a quarterback, Bart Starr. And he told Bart Starr, he said, I'm going to put you out there. You're going to sink or swim. Either you're going to be the starting quarterback or I'm going to cut you. And Bart Starr responded, became all Hall of Fame quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl winner. This is the same situation that Frank is in. And Tibbs is the same type of coach of Lombardi. You're going to go out there. I'm going to let you sink or swim. I'm going to run you to death. I want you to play your defense, and I'm going to see if you respond. You come up with a sprained groin or a sprained knee, you done. You better come out here ready to play.
Yeah. It's like a dojo mentality,
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to learn that kata, baby. You got to learn that kata. If you can learn the kata, you're not going to move up in rank,
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
That's exactly
And tell Frank to stay away from the ladies for a season.
Leave the chicken wings alone, man. You know what I'm saying?
Stay away from the ladies for a season.
They on that boy hard too. I mean, when I was working in a firm years ago when Kobe got accused of rape, and all of these certain people was like, he's immoral, blah blah blah, and I was like, yo, you ever been 21 years old? I said, you remember what you was like when you was 21? You was just what? You was a virgin or what? You was a monk or what? And I said, imagine
21 for 10 years.
Imagine you 21 with 10 million in your pocket and every flavor on the planet knows you got it. What you going to do?
Exactly.
So now that shut him up, and that's here's Frank in New York City, my God, and young boy like that, oh my God, yeah, you got it. Somebody got to know.
Yeah, stay away. Yeah. Keep your groin straight for a season.
Yeah.
Stay away from the ladies. Keep the groin straight for a season.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now let's get into Kevin Knox. right? Because Kevin Knox went from averaging 12 points a game, what was it, maybe 5 rebounds, took a step down as far as a lot of people are concerned, right? Now, different roster construction, right? Totally different roster construction, but took a step down. I think he averaged like 6 points this year, less shot attempts, obviously less minutes. I mean, he was a guy coming into the league that we all knew was going to need some time to grow, develop, came in very young. People get frustrated with Kevin Knox, right? People think he doesn't have a motor. They can see, I think the most frustrating thing about it, it's kind of the same thing with Frank, except you know that Frank has a motor. You see the ability, you see flashes of things that he can do, and people are impatient that he's not putting it all together to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm afraid with this year, I don't know that I'm not ready to say that Kevin Knox is going to take this major leap yet. I think we will see him get incrementally better. And then maybe the next year, take a leap. Will people be patient enough to wait for that? Because, again, I think he has to mature. We talked about this just a little bit earlier. You know, you're a young man. You've got to learn a little bit about life. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have your exceptions, right? You're going to have your Lukas and your LeBrons and your Kobes that are just exceptions, right? I was watching videos of Amari Stoudemire today, right? Amari athletically was just an exception. I mean, the talent was just overwhelming for any veteran that was in the league. But for most of your players need that time to become a man, to understand how to capitalize on their talent, how to execute the nuances of the game, and then just how to live. I mean, some of these kids are still living with their parents. Like they moved to New York City or Portland or wherever they're going to, and their parents move with them. And still telling them to take out the trash. Still telling them to wash the dishes.
Yeah, go clean your room and stuff like that.
Go clean your room. Like, you know, that's, I think we'll see some incremental progress from him. You know, maybe, you know, maybe we see him more confident on the floor. Will the numbers take a big spike? I'm not sure they take a big spike, but I just think that we've got to stay a little bit more patient with Knox. You know, give him a fourth season to grow instead of that third season that everybody's like, yeah, after the third season, that's pretty much it. I think it's a different day and age in the NBA, and it's not that after the third season.
Now, what happened, man, now, Kevin, right? Now, you know his father was an NFL player. His father played the NFL. He kind of, I'm sure, was counsel in terms of the off-the-court stuff when he came on. Kevin was basically a gangly kid when they drafted him, playing, you know, whatever, Fortnite and all this. And you could see him, he wasn't even finished filling in or growing. And Calipari said 2 or 3 seasons. The problem is what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened now. The boy showed out that first summer league. And everybody's expectations went through the roof. Instead of remembering it was still going to take 2 or 3 years, when he came down the court and was tomahawking on people in that summer league, everybody's like, oh, this kid's going to be a star. He's going to be Rookie of the Year. And even he said it. He had Rookie of the Year on his wall. So they lifted up their expectations. Now, Fizdale's first year, one of the few things he did right was letting Kevin just play and let him play through his mistakes and let him just play and just, you know, let him run. He did that. Kevin's defense was horrible, as most rookies are. And his second year, 2 things happened. Now, Fizdale, in the first half of the year, he's 4-18. He playing for his job, so he sat Kevin. Okay, he sat Kevin. It wasn't even like Kevin just needed to sit because he wasn't playing, because Fizdale was trying to figure out how to win games. He just didn't know what he was doing. So now Kevin is sitting. Now he goes from playing, starting, and I think he must have started. I think Kevin started like 55, 60 games his rookie year. So he goes from that to the Pine. And he's now 19. So that's going to mess with his head, right? But one thing I noticed last year, especially when Mike Miller took over, is Kevin was focusing on being able to use his length on defense. And he really was trying to get better in that area. What I like about him, when you watch him, when he runs the court, there's a smoothness about how he moves. It's almost like he's gliding. Mm-hmm. And when that boy fills in, he's going to be a problem. So this year, and really the motor thing is, again, it goes back, when you watch Kevin, he was in Florida in some Catholic high school or something. Because of his athleticism, because of his length, he didn't have to have a motor. You know, he could dominate. When he went to Kentucky, like he was gliding through, and Calipari got in his behind. Then he scored 34 against West Virginia. He came to the workout with the Knicks against Miles Bridges and Mikal Bridges, and it was on, and he busted their behind. That's why they drafted him. So now you got Tibbs, and Tibbs is not one to say, oh, you could take a play off. Oh, hell no. You better come in there ready to play. And I believe that this kid is going to respond because his character is such. He wants to be good. He's the one, like some players you can yell at and get on them and they don't respond well. He's going to respond well. And I think when Tibbs gets on him, you're going to see a leap this year. And I'm with you, Sim. You don't judge this kid this year at all. I'm saying he's going to make a leap. But good or bad, you got to give him that fourth season. Yep. You got to give him that fourth season. When he's 22 years old, I'm trying to tell y'all, we got a burgundy all-star on our hands. He's not going to come. Not everybody going to come out at Luka Doncic at 16 and dominate, or LeBron. He's 16 on the cover of Sports Illustrated like he's a pro. Not everybody like that. This kid, he's gangly. You can see. It's almost like his feet too big for his body. He's real gangly and he's real, kid.
Exactly.
You know? But when he fills in and he gets a man's body, like you see Frank getting ready to have this year, when he fills in next year and gets that man's body, this kid's gonna be a problem because I see he's got a nice stroke from three. We done seen him flush it on Ben Simmons. Ask Ben Simmons, he knows all about it.
I was looking at that the other day.
So he got it in him, and then like last year, if you notice, he had blocked several jump shots and several shots using his length on the perimeter. So I seen him, he's going to put it together. It's just that the New York media is not patient. The New York market is not patient. And then he messed up when he balled out in that first summer league, everybody was like, they raised the expectations and now everything is a disappointment. Kevin Knox we need to keep, and you know what? They tried, they were talking about Oklahoma City wanted him, and the Knicks said no. You know why? Because you know what? If you left Scott Perry alone with Mills, they would have sent that boy out there. But Papa Rose said, keep this boy right here. And now you got Kenny Payne.
Yep.
This man getting ready to ball out. Yeah. I don't know. I would like to see him starting. I don't know where he would start. Because you'd have to sit Julius Randle or Obi, for him to start. I'd like to see him starting, but I would start him, but I would start him this year, and I would tell him if I'm Tibbs, you come in here in shape and you show you ready to play and you show you ready to motor, I'm gonna play you. I still think he should get at least 25 minutes a game. I'm expecting Kevin to make big strides, but I'm giving him that fourth year. When he gets in his fourth year, we're not gonna be talking about Kevin as far as trading him anymore. We're gonna be talking about who we're gonna get around him.
Yeah, he's a bit goofy too. Like we talk about Amari Stoudemire and these guys, Luka Doncic. These guys are swaggy. They got a lot of confidence. Yeah. They don't have to worry about any of that type of thing. These guys are just like they're already superstars already in their own head. Right. This guy Knox, he's still like I say, he's a little man. Like we mentioned that his feet look like it's too big. Like his hair is not growing correctly. You still got to comb it right so it can grow correctly. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those kids. But and then his father's a football player, so he's a disciplinarian. Thibodeau is going to be similar to that. Kenny Payne took on that role also when he was in college. So like you said, that fourth year, definitely we need to keep him around for that fourth year. Because I'm very hard on him also, but I'm hard on him because I can see what's going on in his head. And I'm hoping that he might see it, especially people that critique him can see it. That way that he can see what people are saying and hopefully, imply that to his game and stuff. Yeah, so it's all about confidence with that kid, man. He's a big man. These guys are like little man,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Right.
He used to hold their hand across the street,
Right, exactly. These guys are kids. I listen. People killed me when he was drafted, and I said he was more versatile than Kristaps Porzingis. Everybody killed me. I still believe that he's more versatile than Kristaps Porzingis, right? KP, right now, I'm looking at KP and saying he's basically going to be a spot-up shooter,
right,
in the league.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a 7 foot
part-time. Don't play him more than 25 minutes because he's going to get hurt.
Right. You know, so I'm looking at him and saying he's basically going to be a 7 foot spot-up shooter. He might still get his 17 a game, 18 a game, you know, maybe even 20. But he's not getting the ball off the rim and then advancing it up the floor and being able to take it to the cup. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have, you know, I've seen him go to the basket a couple times, but the way that Kevin Knox can go to the basket, when he makes up his mind to go, and when his body feels like Raw just said, when his body feels out, he's going to be dipping that shoulder and banging people out the way.
He's going to be a problem.
You know what I'm saying? He can shoot the three, obviously, right? I do think that this year we might see him shoot around 37, 38%. It's going to be more comfortable this year. And he can shoot the mid-range when he wants to. Like he's got a lot of skill, a lot of talent. He's just got to put it together. He's just got to grow up and put it together.
It's just put it together, and that's what rookies need. You need to do that. That's called development. One part, then you add another part, and you put it all together. When you look at a guy like a Kevin Knox when he's 18 years old at Kentucky, that's what you're looking at. You say, okay, we can develop his shot. We can develop his aggressive. He's going to grow into his body. Eventually, he's going to be the deal. But we got to be patient, and we got to develop this thing 1 year at a time. So, okay, so now this is his third year. I'm expecting him to start to put it all together. Like you said, I'm looking for 37% from three. I'm looking for a little bit more aggressiveness. Because, one time Fizdale looked like he was about to bust a nut, man. When Kevin came down on Cleveland and on that fast break and flushed it on him, my boy was like beside himself because that's what he could do, man. I was like, yeah, I know this kid could be a problem, man. It's just, you know what? He needs to put, and I'm very excited. Now, I don't want to, I'm not expecting him to be an all-star and everything this year, but give him this year. You're going to see the picture come together. It's going to start coming together. And then next year, he's going to be a problem.
I believe the same thing. I believe the same thing. You're going to start to see it. That's why I say incremental, right? You know, maybe he gets back up to 6 points, maybe he gets back up to 10, 11, 12 points per game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Incremental.
Better percentages a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, better percentages and stuff like that. But you start to see the way that he takes it to the basket. Right, you start to see the confidence that he has on the floor. I think you're going to start to see those things, and more people are going to be like, yeah, maybe we do need to keep him around, you know?
I wanted to shout out your coach's corner, man. You made that point that he's really good on the pick and roll. So, you know, you had like a whole bunch of videos explaining that. So that's a skill right there that he's going to have, you know, coming around that pick and roll with Randall on one side, maybe Mitch on the other side. Now you got Obi Toppin. That's a weapon to have out there in the small forward. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, think about this. If he becomes the second option, you know, you got RJ as your first option, and all of a sudden Kevin develops, so he's a solid second option. Oh, man. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You know, one day he will be I think he will be a solid second option. And I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people underrated the fact that he can be a ball handler in that screen and roll. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's got IQ, man. He's got high IQ.
Yeah.
He's got high IQ, man. He could play this kid could play. We just need to develop him and give him the time.
Yeah, you just got to finish his Similac. You got to finish his bottle. You know what I'm saying? You got to grow up.
You got to get the teeth out of his mouth. Get the teeth out of his mouth.
That's exactly right.
And then the last guy before we get out of here, of course, RJ Barrett. I think we already know that RJ Barrett is working.
Yeah.
You know
that's the king right there.
That's just his MO. That's who he is. He's working, and he'll always work. I'm expecting RJ to come in. I think that he's probably worked on his free throws all summer. I hope, and I am expecting that he's going to take a leap in his free throw percentage. I'm not saying he's going to shoot 85%. Right,
70 though. He got to get
70. Right. I think he's going to take a leap in his free throw percentage. I think he's going to shoot better from the 3-point line. He's going to be stronger and he's going to be faster. I think RJ this year can up his scoring average to close to 20 a game. You know, just by shooting a better percentage from the free throw line and knocking down a couple more threes.
And get more opportunities, because that's what I'm saying. That's my concern about Julius. If you give Obi and you get another shooter out there, RJ's going to be a problem, man. Because the thing about RJ, above all, he ain't scared of nothing. Like, he steps into the garden and he don't care if he's there or whatever. He going to do what he do. You know, he remind me of, in terms of that attitude, Sprewell. Sprewell came into the garden and it did not shake him. He wasn't scared. He didn't care about the media. And you remember, like, he was balling so much. They did this commercial where he said, "Thank you for letting me be myself again." And he's sort of walking down because he was so comfortable. RJ's only 19, and this boy is not scared of nothing. When he gave PJ Tucker the business at the end of the Houston game, I was like, because I was one of those, I was thinking, I said, this kid's not going to be as good in the pros as we think. I was really thinking it. I said that because he didn't shoot well in college. He was more athletic than his peers at Duke. And that's why he was getting over on his athleticism. But I didn't really think it was going to translate. But man, I was wrong. That first week when he came out, I said, oh man, this boy, because he was doing the exact same thing. It didn't matter if it was PJ Tucker. It didn't matter who it was. And they knew he was going to his left. They couldn't stop him. And so you give this boy, listen, 70%, Sim, you right, 70% from the line. But I'm not expecting, listen, if he shoot 34, 35% from three this year and just get some open lanes, this boy's going to average 20. And he's going to be a problem. And I'm saying, here's another one. He could play 2 or the 3. He can guard 1, 2, and 3. Okay, multiple position. Mm-hmm. You got Frank. He can guard 1, 2, and 3. He can play the 2 or the 3. You got Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson can guard 1 through 5. You got multiple players, could guard multiple positions, and then Kevin has got the potential to guard 1. He can I don't say 1, but he can guard 2, 3s, and 4s when he's ready. You give these kids Tom Thibodeau, and you give them a year of 35 minutes a game, and they don't get hurt. No, I don't want this injury bug. Don't get them. You know what I'm saying? Forget Las Vegas. They don't know what they're talking about.
No doubt.
Do something.
You know they're a bunch of gamblers. They're gambling in Vegas. Yeah. But you know, it's not only Thibodeau. Yeah, it's not only Thibodeau. You got Kenny Payne. You got the other guy.
Right.
You know, the whole
Bryant, Kenny Payne, Woody.
Yeah, Woody. Yeah, definitely Woody. Johnny Bryant. You know, I feel like he's the type of guy. Like, if let's say a Thibodeau was to like get up in age, he's a guy that can come in and just finish the thing, man. These are great coaches, man. He's going
to be what the Thibodeau was to Jeff Van Gundy.
Absolutely, yeah. This is an exciting time to be a Knicks fan, man.
It is.
If people are sleeping, you need to get on that train. You know what I'm saying? The doors are open.
Saying.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
You need to jump on it. You need to jump on it
before the train leaves the station, baby.
Yep. And then and of course we got Mitchell Robinson out there. You know, I could do a whole show on Mitch and what I want to see from Mitch. I think Mitch has just like super duper talent. He's got to work on a lot of the mechanics of the game, the nuances of the game. You know, setting strong screens, boxing out the rebound, the basketball. That's one thing that I'm a little bit worried about with Obi is his rebounding. I'm a little bit. There's a couple of entire full games, right? And I'm a little bit concerned. He can box out, but sometimes I see he's not fully in position or ready to rebound. Hopefully, Tom Thibodeau and those guys can work on him and help him fix that. But you know, with Mitch, I think there's going to be a battle in training camp when it comes to Noel, because I think that Tom Thibodeau is going to like the fact that Noel has a lot of those nuances of the game, can set good, strong screens, and Mitch doesn't have them yet. So Mitch better be ready to battle.
Yeah, Calipari said it, right?
Noel's a seasoned pro. He's going to help Mitch get better. He's definitely going to help Mitch get better. He's a seasoned pro. And that's what I can't even think. I just hope they don't trade Noel, because he is the perfect player to bring on this team with a Mitchell Robinson. Yeah. He's going to push him to get better. He's going to challenge him, and he's going to tell you, listen, Mitch, if you ain't ready, I'm going to take your spot. So it's going to be really is going to be really good. Noel's looking for the bag. He got offered the bag a few years ago, turned it down, and then he became a minimum league player. So now he's looking to get back. And then Kenny Payne. So you get Kenny Payne and then Noel working with this kid, because Mitchell Robinson really got. I mean, when I first saw him, my concern was his first press conference. Man, he looked like a deer in headlights. He looked like a second grader. And I was like, you had Kevin. Kevin was sitting there very polished and answering the question. You know, he come from Kentucky, and Mitchell Robinson looking around like this. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I hope this. So, but this boy is much smarter than I gave him credit for. And he learned without any development from the staff. He learned a lot from DeAndre Jordan, and he picked up a lot that first year. And now this is only Mitch's third year, man. And so, I mean, like I said, I really noticed how I have never seen a guy that plays the 5 that covers ground like this kid. Ooh. This kid covers ground like I don't know what. And then since then, that's why I like Isaac Okoro, because he does the same thing. Him and Vassell on defense, they cover that ground very quick. There's a drill. You ever see the drill where you have the blocks and you got to run the square and pick up the blocks? That's a defensive drill, because on defense, that's what you're doing. You're covering. You're like a squirrel. You're scurrying. You're getting one point to another.
Right.
And there going Mitchell Robinson, man. I mean, yeah, he blocks shots, and that's excellent. He got excellent timing. But the way he covers ground and contests, to me, man, listen, if he's a rim runner and does that, he's worth his weight in gold. But I think he's going to add more to his game this year. I think you're going to see a little bit more because, Tom Thibodeau runs the triangle.
Yeah,
y'all know that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He runs the triangle.
He had Joakim Noah running the triangle, getting the ball on the pinch post. So if you get Mitchell Robinson in that, Mitchell Robinson is more athletic and more gifted to me than Joakim Noah. So you get him and he's able to knock down that 15-footer. Like, that's game over, baby.
Right, that's it. If he can knock down that 15-footer, he's going to have to learn to pass from the pinch post a little bit. I don't think Tom Thibodeau is going to run all triangle, but it's going to be a lot of triangle stuff in there. And Mitch is going to have to do those things. I think this is going to be a great environment for Mitch to grow up and develop and become a player, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how these young guys, everyone's talking about these, the Alec Burks, and I'm not discounting those guys and Austin Rivers and stuff like that. Stopgap guys that you signed for 1 year. But the success of this team, if we can even hope to battle for that 10th seed to get into the play-in tournament, these young guys are going to be vitally important. Their development is going to be vitally important, man. But hey, guys, it's been great. It's been fun. I got to get over to Leeds and the Knicks podcast. Is where I'm going to right now.
All right, tell Guillermo we said what's up, man.
I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him. I know he's waiting for me. He's probably mad because I'm late. Yeah. But let me get on over there. Yeah. yeah. It probably does. But let me get over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Make sure you check us out next week. We don't really have a date. We just decide that we're going to record it, and we record it. So just be ready for the notifications. If you subscribe, you get the notifications. Make sure you go check out Die Hard Knicks Podcast. Go into Google and just type in Die Hard Knicks. It's going to pop up. Every single one of his platforms is going to pop up. Make sure you go to YouTube and Sportscast and check out Raw Hebrew Remnant. We're going to be doing a lot more together, guys. So y'all be on the lookout. Be ready. Out of here. Peace.